Hello, Sentimental Journey friends, and welcome to a very special program for Remembrance Day here in Canada, Veterans Day in the United States. I'm Lauren Fevens. And over the next 2 hours, we're going to enjoy many recordings that were popular during the years of the First World War, 1914 to 1918. And we'll also hear excerpts from wartime letters, diaries, and newspaper clippings written by or about the men who served during those years. The program is called Mudsongs, a musical narrative of that so-called war to end all wars, researched and developed by J. Frederick Brown, now a resident of Yarmouth County here in Nova Scotia. Mr. Brown joins me right now, and it would be good, John, to know how Mudsongs came to be.
Well, I was a student at Mount St. Vincent University in Halifax, and I was doing some research on World War I in an attempt to understand the sacrifice that the Canadian soldiers had given for their country in the name of king and country. And it was really a personal, reflective look at that sacrifice. After I did some research with some initial books and newspapers and archival material, someone said to me, this should really be on the stage. And I thought, well, maybe I could see this on the stage. And so I sat down and started to arrange the various speeches, newspaper articles into a chronological representation of that sacrifice.
And where has it, or what stages has it gone through since then? Because that's been a few years ago, has it not?
That was early 80s, and what is interesting for a show that was never intended to be a stage presentation, it has had 6 separate productions all across Nova Scotia in some of the community theaters and as benefit performances for some of the legions. So it went from an idea to a stage presentation across the province. And then the highlight for me in its stage history is that the Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, Myra Freeman, invited the young company cast out of Annapolis Royal to do a special invited-only performance at Government House for veterans.
How do you react to moving it from the stage to a radio presentation?
An interesting journey that took the show in a whole complete different direction, and for the better for a radio audience. As a stage play, we would do the narrations and then we would perform the musical material. But in regards to the radio broadcast, we were now able to go back and look at the original recordings from 1914 to 1918, some of them cylinder, some of them 78 RPM. And now what we have is not only the actual words taken from diaries, letters, and newspapers, but the actual recordings that could have been heard by the soldiers prior to their departure overseas. Every single recording in this broadcast is from 1905 to 1922.
Now, the people who we will hear bringing us the excerpts from the letters are actually people that most recently have made it a stage presentation.
Yes, it was recently directed by Elaine Forehand for St. Luke's Players out of Halifax. And when we were putting the show together, it seemed logically that we get the dramatic content and flow from an actual stage presentation and then edit in the pre-recorded material from the period. So that's sort of the history on how this came together as a broadcast.
Thanks, John. So let's remember those who served during World War I as we hear the music they and their families heard during those years and reflect on the words from and about those who served. And the St. Luke's Players would like to dedicate this special Sentimental Journey program to the memory of all who fought, not only in the Great War, but in all armed conflicts.
Lads, you're wanted. Go and help. On the railway carriage wall stuck the poster, and I thought of the hands that had penned its call. Fat civilians wishing they could go and fight the Hun. Oh, but can't you see them thanking God that they are over 41? Girls with feathers sing vulgar songs, washy verse on England's need. God, don't we damn well know how that message ought to read. Lads, you're wanted over there. Come shiver in the morning dew. More poor devils like yourselves waiting to be killed by you. Leave the harlots still to sing comic songs about the Hun. Leave the fat old men to say now we've got them on the run. Better 20 honest years than their dull 70. Lads, you're wanted. Come and learn to live and die like honest men. Take your risk of life and limb underneath the clear blue sky. Live fast. Go out quick. Lads, you're wanted. Come and die.
A mother was kneeling to pray for loved ones that were far away. And there by her side, her one joy and pride, knelt down with her that day. Then came a knock on the door. Your boy is commanded to war. No, Captain, please, here on my knees, I plead for one I adore. Don't take my darling boy away from me. Don't send him off to war. You took his father and brother three. Now you come back for more. Who are the heroes that fight your war? Mothers who have no say. But my duty's done, so for God's sake leave one. And don't take my darling boy away. Ending tonight, ending tonight, ending on the orchestra. You took his father and brother three. Now you come back for more. Ending tonight, ending tonight, ending on the orchestra. But my duty's done, so for God's sake leave one. And don't take my darling boy away. A hero is now laid to rest, a hero and one of the best. She fought with each son, the battles he'd won, and the battles that proved a test. Though she never went to the war, she was the hero by far. They gave the guns, but who gave the sons? M-O-T-H-E-R. Don't take my darling boy away from me. Don't send him off to war. You took his father and brother three. Now you come back for more. Who are the heroes that fight your wars? Mothers who have no say. But my duty's done, so for God's sake leave one. And don't take my darling boy away. Ending tonight, ending tonight, ending on the orchestra. You took his father and brother three. Now you come back for more. Ending tonight, ending tonight, ending on the orchestra. But my duty's done, so for God's sake leave one. And don't take my darling boy away.
Yonge Street was crowded. The official decoration was posted at 7 o'clock. For a minute, the big crowd stood silent. All of a sudden, a cheer broke. It wasn't a cheer for the war. but for the king, for Britain, and for victory. Heads were bared, and the national anthem was sung with a significance it hadn't possessed in years.
Oh, Canada, our home, our native land, through patriot love thou dost in us command. We see thee rising fair, dear land, the true north, strong and free, and stand on guard, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, O Canada, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, where pines and maples grow, great prairies spread and lordly rivers flow. Thou art the land, O Canada, from east to western sea, the land of hope for all who toil, the land of liberty. O Canada, O Canada, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, beneath thy shining sky, may stalwart sons and gentle maidens rise, and so abide, O Canada, from east to western sea, where'er thy pines and prairies are, thy true north, strong and free. O Canada, O Canada, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
I'll always remember the first night war was declared. We were all down at the armories, hundreds of us. I was a member of the 48th Band, and just after the announcement was made that Canada was indeed at war, we went out into the crowd and began to play Rule Britannia. Away we went down the street, and the crowd followed. A French flag came on the scene, and then some Union Jacks. And then all of a sudden, you couldn't get through the traffic. People were pulling the poles off the streetcars and mobbing us. You would have thought we were coming back from a war, not going to one.
Goodbye, dear, I'm leaving you today. Don't cry, dear, just try to steal away. You'll be cold and I must obey, but I'll always hope and pray. While I'm sailing far across the sea, will you always think of me? I may be gone for a long, long time, long, long time, long, long time, but when I go, you will know that I'll always pine for the day when you'll be a long, long time. Rain or shine, sweetheart mine, and I'll be just as true to you as to the red, white, and blue. Though I'm gone for a long, long time. Someday, dear, when I come back to you, we will build a little home for two. Then we'll settle down, dear, for life, far away from care and strife. Cheer up, dear, and when I'm far away, don't forget to write each day. I may be gone for a long, long time, long, long time, long, long time, but when I go, you will know that I'll always pine for the day when you'll be mine. Be true to me for a long, long time, rain or shine, sweetheart mine, and I'll be just as true to you as to the red, white, and blue, though I'm gone for a long, long time. Rain or shine, sweetheart mine, and I'll be just as true to you as to the red, white, and blue, though I'm gone for a long, long time.
I saw a recruiting advertisement in the paper the other day, and I was wondering if the men are responding properly. They would if they could see what the Germans had done in Belgium. After all, it's not so bad out here. Cold sometimes, and the waiting gets on our nerves, but we are happy and as fit as fiddles. I wonder how many have joined.
See the people running, hear the rum-tum coming, military music in the air. Everyone is waiting, hearts are palpitating, flags are flying everywhere, yes, everywhere. Of every allied nation, from nearly all creation, their banners wave from every staff and shore. But the one I love to see, that means so much to me, it's a flag that's flying at home and right at home. There's a service flag flying at home. A blue star in a field of red and white, of red and white. Father is so proud of what his boy has done. There's a tear in mother's smile, and she mother, my son. Perhaps he may return with fame and glory. But if I can't be losing in the fight, there'll be a service flag flying at our home, and a new star in heaven that night. There beside Old Glory, telling all our story, till the end that flag is going to fly, it's going to fly. We are proud to show it, want the world to know it. We will do or we will die, or we will die. There's a million of us, giving sons and brothers, and proudly watch them as they march away, And although their hearts may break, there's a million that they can take. There's a service flag flying at our home, a blue star in a field of red and white, of red and white. Father is so proud of what his boy has done. There's a tear in mother's smile, and in mother's, my son. Perhaps he may return with fame and glory. But if I can't be losing in the fight, there'll be a service flag flying at our home, and a new star in heaven that night. But if I can't be losing in the night there'll be a perfect flight flying at our heart, and then you serve in him that night.
Is your best boy wearing khaki? If not, do you think he should be? If he does not think that you and your country are worth fighting for, do you think he's worthy of you? Don't pity the girl who is alone. Oh no, her young man is probably a soldier, fighting for her and her country, and for you. If your young man neglects his duty to king and country, the time may come when he will neglect you. Think it over. Then ask him to join the army today.
We've watched playing cricket and every kind of game. Let football go and throw. You men have made your name, but now your country calls you to play your part in war. And no matter what befalls you, we shall love you the more. So come and join the forces as your father did before. Oh, we don't want to lose you, but we think you're so good for your king and your country. Oh, need you so. We shall want you and miss you, but with all of might and main, we shall cheer you and you when you come back again. We want you from all quarters to help us south and north. We want you in your forces from Falmouth to the Forth. You'll never find us feel you when you're in distress. So answer when we hail you and let your Lord be guest. And throw your name in years to come, each mother's son shall bless. Oh, we don't want to lose you, but we think you're so good for your king and your country. Oh, need you so. We shall want you and miss you, but with all might and main, we shall cheer you and you when you come back again. Oh, we don't want to lose you, but we think you're so good for your king and your country. Oh, need you so. We shall want you and miss you, but with all our might and main, we shall cheer you and you. When you come back
Montreal, Quebec, August 15th, 1914. A call for volunteers. Volunteers, mark you. I have insisted that it should be a purely volunteer contingent. Not a man will be accepted but of his own free will, and not a married man shall go without the consent of his wife and family. I have no fears as to the results of this war. If the millions in Germany cannot be driven back by this first contingent, I feel sure I voice the sentiments of all Canadians when I say that if necessary, 10, 20, 30 or more contingents will follow. We are determined the tyrants there shall never grind down the people of Canada.
Some men are getting married so they won't be called to war. But if they want to dodge it, what do they get married for? It takes about a year or more to train a soldier right. A year of married life will make them all know how to fight. Oh, give me a gun and away I run to fight the foreign foe. I'm not afraid the shot and shell will harm me. For ever since I took a wife, I've been in battles all my life, and I feel at home if they let me join the army. They'll have to force the single men to go to war, I fear. The married men all want to go, they always volunteer. It takes the bravest of the brave to bear the battle's brunt. That's why they always find the married men way out in front. Oh, give me a gun and away I run to fight the foreign foe. The sound of rifle fire would not alarm me. For since my wife had twins, you see, each night I lead the infantry, and I feel at home if they let me join the army. Since I got married, my wife charges everything to me. But I'd reverse the charges and I charge the enemy. I'm always on the firing line, of that there is no doubt. When she invites her company, I'm always mustered out. Oh, give me a gun and away I run to fight the foreign foe. A trip up in the aeroplanes would charm me. Since I got married, I declare I'm always been up in the air, and I feel at home if they let me join the army. My house is a recruiting station for her family. They're first in war and first in peace and first for lunch, you see. Now I treat them to anything and everything I get. But like a gallant army, they have not retreated yet. Oh, give me a gun and away I run to fight the foreign foe. The life out in the trenches wouldn't harm me. They're small, but I am used to that. I'm living in a Harlem flat, and I feel at home if they let me join the army.
Now let's continue with Mudsongs, featuring excerpts from wartime letters, diaries, and newspaper clippings written by or about the men who served during the years of the First World War, 1914 to 1918, and music of those years.
We come from every quarter, from the north, south, east, and west, to clear the way to freedom for the land we love the best. We've left our occupation and home so far and dear, but when the going's rather rough, we raise this song of cheer. Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 with your haircut just as short as mine. Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 you're surely looking fine. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust, if the camels don't get you, the Fatimas must. Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 with your haircut just as short as, your haircut just as short as, haircut just as short as mine. Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 with your haircut just as short as mine. Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 you're surely looking fine. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust, if the camels don't get you, the Fatimas must. Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 with your haircut just as short as, haircut just as short as, haircut just as short as mine. You see them on the highway, you meet them down the pike. In olive drab and khaki, our soldiers on the hike. And as the column passes, the word goes down the line. Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 you're surely looking fine. Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 with your haircut just as short as mine. Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 you're surely looking fine. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust, if the camels don't get you, the Fatimas must. Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 with your haircut just as short as, haircut just as short as, haircut just as short as mine. Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 with your haircut just as short as mine. Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 you're surely looking fine. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust, if the camels don't get you, the Fatimas must. Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 with your haircut just as short as, your haircut just as short as, haircut just as short as mine.
The grub on the Saxonia was hell. After having supper, I went out and gave the sharks a feed. My first seasickness. Oh, I had begun feeling poor about 3 p.m., but I managed to fight it off until then. I tried to make it to the deck, but I couldn't, so I used a porthole. All the young boys were lying around the deck, looking like a bunch of dogs. Some not caring if the boat went down to the bottom or not. They were that sick.
Washing fails to kill lice, although as someone said, they get an awful shock. The only way to get rid of these pests, and I've been rid of them for over a month now, is to sprinkle your underclothes with creolin. It's a disinfectant which our sanitary men use around the latrines. It's an extract of tar. After application, when a man commences to sweat, he passes through the torture of Hades. But it was worth the suffering. What a luxury it was to lie down and to sleep at night instead of rolling and groaning, tearing madly at your flesh with your fingernails.
They speak of trenches. Well, trenches is too romantic a word for them. These were ditches, common, ordinary ditches. And as time went by, they became filthy. We had no garbage disposal, no sewage disposal. We would simply dig a little trench off the main trench, dig a deep hole, and that was your latrine. You threw everything you didn't want up and over. And if you stood at a place where with powerful binoculars you could see these trenches, you saw this strange line of garbage for as far as the eye could see. And in this filth, men lived.
10 million soldiers to the war have gone, who may never return again. 10 million mothers' hearts must break for the one who died in vain. Heads bowed down in sorrow in her lonely years, I heard a mother murmur through her tears, I didn't raise my boy to be a soldier, I brought him up to be my pride and joy, who dared to place a musket on his shoulder, to shoot some other mother's darling boy. That nations are the race, their future trouble. It's time to lay the sword and gun away. There'd be no war today if mothers all would say, I didn't raise my boy to be a soldier. What victory can cheer a mother's heart when she looks at her blighted home? What victory can bring her back all she cares to call her own? Let each mother answer in the years to be, remember that my boy belongs to me. I didn't raise my boy to be a soldier, I brought him up to be my pride and joy. Who dared to place a musket on his shoulder, to shoot some other mother's darling boy. Let nations of a race their future trouble. It's time to lay the sword and gun away. no war today if mothers all would say, I didn't raise my boy to be a soldier. I didn't raise my boy to be a soldier. I brought him up to be my pride and joy. Who dares to place a musket on his shoulder to shoot some other mother's darling boy? Let nations all but face their future trouble. It's time to lay the sword and gun away. There'd be no war today if mothers all would say, I didn't raise my boy to be a soldier.
The baths in Nieppe were in a brewery adjoining the River Lies. And when we got there, we removed our tunics and trousers and wrapped them in our identity tags so that they could be put through the delousing machine. Once inside, we were split into small groups of about a dozen or so, and each group was allotted a vat. And there we remained, immersed up to our necks for 5 glorious minutes. At 5 minutes 15 seconds, a cold hose was turned on to roust out the laggards. A clean shirt, pants, and socks were handed out, and in these we returned to the first building. If anyone was then unable to find his deloused trousers and tunic, well, he wandered around like a lost sheep until he was given a pair yards too long. These he had to wear until he could arrange to rip them beyond repair on the next wiring party.
Private West is a funny little fellow with a smile.
A funny smile.
5 feet none, he's an artful little dodger with a smile.
A sunny smile.
Flush or broke, he'll have his little joke. He can't be suppressed. All the other fellows have to grin when he gets to this off his chest.
Hey! Back up your troubles in your own kit bag and smile, smile, smile. While you Lucifer to like your bag, smile, boys, that's the style. What's the use of worrying? It never was worthwhile. So back up your troubles in your own kit bag and smile, smile, smile.
Private West went a-marching into battle with a smile.
His funny smile.
He was loved by the privates and commanders for his smile.
His funny smile.
When a bunch of soldiers came along with a mighty swing, Peck yelled out, this little bunch is mine. Keep your head down, boys, and sing. Hey! Pack up your troubles in your own kit bag and
Smile, smile, smile.
while you were Lucifer to light your bag.
Smile, boys, that's the style.
What's the use of worrying? It never was worthwhile.
So pack up your troubles in your own kit bag and smile, smile, smile.
Private Peck, he came back from all the shooting with a smile.
His funny smile.
Round his home he then set about recruiting with his smile.
His sunny smile.
He told all his pals, short and tall, what a time he'd had. And as he enlisted like a man, Private Peck said, now my lad.
Hey! Pack up your troubles in your own kit bag and smile, smile, smile. While you balloon to light your bag, smile, boys, that's the style. What's the use of worrying? It never was worthwhile. So pack up your troubles in your own. Sit back and smile, smile, smile. Pack up your troubles in your own. Sit back and smile, smile, smile. While you the Lucifer go like your bag, smile, boys, that's the style. What's the use of worrying? It never was worthwhile. So pack up your troubles in your own. Sit back and smile, smile, smile.
The moment this war broke out, I felt I had the absolute necessity to take part in it. I could not continue to be pampered in my dear home while millions of young men were offering their lives for their country. I thought the whole matter over. I am prepared to die. It wasn't an easy matter to decide. I may go through the campaign in safety, or I may be buried with the brave lads in France. But I faced the question, the answer came, and here I am in the king's uniform. I have no doubt in my mind that I have done the right and proper thing.
If you have read your history, then you're bound to know that we have always held our own with any foe. We've always brought the bacon home, no matter what they've done. But we don't want the bacon now. We're out to get the Hun. We don't want the bacon. We don't want the bacon. What we want is a piece of the Rhine. We'll hit Bill the Kaiser on the head and make him wiser. We'll have a wonderful time. All will have the grove. We'll shout what it blows when we hit that Hindenburg line. We don't want the bacon. We don't want the bacon. What we want is a piece of the Rhine. When first this war began, they said we had no chance. They couldn't figure how we'd get our men to France. But they will soon discover Uncle Sam is out to win. We've got the Fritzies on the run. We're headed for Berlin. We don't want the bacon. We don't want the bacon. What we want is a piece of the Rhine. We'll hit Bill the Kaiser on the head and make him wiser. We'll have a wonderful time. All will have the grove. We'll shout what it knows when we hit that Hindenburg line. We don't want the bacon. We don't want the bacon. What we want is a piece of the Rhine. All will have the grove. We'll shout what it knows when we hit that Hindenburg line. We don't want the bacon. We don't want the bacon. What we want is a piece of the Rhine.
I'm sitting by the fireside as the evening shadows fall, gazing idly at the pipe rack hanging sideways on the wall. Underneath it, in the corner, I can see an empty chair and a pair of well-worn slippers that are waiting for you there. They remind me that across the seas you've gone, and I am left alone to carry on. Somewhere in France, yonder across the sea, while I am here fondly dreaming of you, there you are dreaming of me. For you will know, where'er you go, my heart is faithful and true. Though you're far, far away, every hour of the day, I am somewhere in France with you.
Every day you find me just as busy as can be, as we live. Yours and yours the country's made to send across the sea, as we live. I live in the subway and wherever I may roam, I shine it in the skating rink and at the hippodrome. You always knit in public, dear, but do you knit at home? Knit! We love to knit. Knit! Sun 23, plain as plain can be. Like it falls through the wool, khaki or gray. Drop a stick like a mouse, it runs away. While my work is through. Now I wish I knew. As I'm knitting and I'm curling, as busy as a bee. Will the fellow who may wear this ever think of me? Live! Each of us is thinking of a fellow very dear as we knit, knit, knit. Some of them are far away and some are very near as we knit, knit, knit. I give him a promise that from flirting I'd reform, or I'd never give another man my kisses warm. But will you keep your promise when you see a uniform? Knit! We love to knit. Knit! Sun 23, plain as plain can be. Like it falls through the wool, khaki or gray. Drop a stick like a mouse, it runs away. While my work is through. Oh, I wish I knew. As I'm knitting and I'm curling, as busy as a bee. Will the fellow who may wear this ever think of me? Lightly falls through the wool, khaki or gray. Drop a stick like a mouse, it runs away. As I'm knitting and I'm curling, as busy as a bee. Will the fellow who may wear this ever think of me? Knit!
No writer can describe a battle, and he who says that he does not feel nervous when ordered to charge brags. After Tirmont and Louvain, we scattered and rode precipitately here and there, trying to reach Brussels. We chummed up, and as our horses were quite done in, we decided to dismount and rest, and we hid behind a thick hedge. After some rest, and whilst discussing our next move, we noticed a faint light down the vale, and we immediately made for this light. We arrived at a house, front door opened, windows shattered, the roof nearly off, and there was no one to be seen. We went in the cellar, and there found what was hardly believable. 3 creatures. A woman partially dressed, dead and leaning against a wall. A child clinging to her. Another woman beside them, quite unconscious. We were debating what to do for the child when we were surprised by the entry of 2 Germans, and then began a strife impossible to describe. The intruders were overcome and killed. And when we calmed down a bit, we were horrified to find the child's head beaten to a pulp, and the second woman dead. We covered the poor creatures as best we could, and since we could do no more, we decided to rest. We found plenty of bread, dry fish, pickles, and a few bottles of beer. We lit another candle, and taking this bit of paper and my indispensable bottle of ink, I squatted down and took a record of the horrid scene. Don't be too severe on my artistic attempts, for I am out of it. It is as I saw it. God, help me.
Just before the battle, mother, I am thinking most of you. While upon the field we're watching, with the enemy in view. Comrades brave around me lying, filled with thoughts of home and God. For well they know that on the morrow some will sleep beneath the sun. Farewell, mother, you may never, mother, press me to your heart again. Oh, you'll not forget me, mother. You will not forget me if I'm numbered with the slain. Hark, I hear the bugle sounding. 'Tis the signal for the fight. Now may God protect us, mother, as He ever does the right. Hear the battle cry of freedom, how it swells upon the air. Oh yes, we'll rally round the standard, or we'll perish nobly there. Farewell, mother, you may never, mother, press me to your heart again. But oh, you'll not forget me, mother, you'll not forget me if I'm numbered with the slain.
Will Oakland with a song that dates to the days of the American Civil War, just before the battle, Mother, on Mudsongs, this special sentimental journey for Remembrance Day here in Canada and for Veterans Day in the United States. It's time for a break. And the original Dixieland Jazz Band rounds out this first hour of the program with their 1918 recording of the Tiger Rag. You're listening to Sentimental Journey on this Remembrance Day in Canada. And for our American friends at WYAR-FM in Yarmouth, Maine, and other American friends who join us by the internet, we want to welcome you to the program during Veterans Day in the United States. And the program this week, a very special one called Mudsongs that features excerpts from wartime letters, diaries, and newspaper clippings written by or about the men who served during those years of the First World War. And we're delighted to have the St. Luke's Players of Halifax, Nova Scotia, providing those excerpts. And, of course, lots of good music from those years of the First World War, 1914 to 1918.
Christmas Eve. I was looking out and saw 4 Germans leave their trenches. I told 2 of my men to go out and meet them, unarmed, as the Germans were unarmed. My men were to see that the Germans did not pass the halfway mark. We were about 300 yards apart at the time. Not knowing what was up, my fellows were not very keen on going, so I decided to go alone. By the time I got to them, they were 3/4 of the way over. Their spokesman started off by saying that he thought that it was only right to come over and wish us a happy Christmas, and that he trusted us implicitly to keep the truce. I assured him that we would. He told me he came from Suffolk, where he had left his best girl. He told me that he had tried to get a letter to her, but could not, and he wanted to know if I could send one through. I made him write out a postcard, and I sent it off that night. I asked him then what orders had come from their officers about coming over, and they said none, that they had come out of goodwill. When I returned to the trenches, I was surprised to hear a hell of a din going on, and not a single man in the trenches. I saw, to my amazement, a crowd of about 150 men, British, French, Germans, all fraternizing in the most genuine possible manner. Every sort of souvenir was exchanged, addresses given and received, and photos of families shown. A German NCO started his fellows off on some marching tune. When they had finished, I set the note to "The Boys of Bonnie Scotland," and so we went on, singing everything from Good King Wenceslas down to the ordinary Tommy songs.
Katie, beautiful Katie, you're the only girl that I adore. When the moon shines over the cowshed, I'll be waiting at the kitchen door. Katie,
We ended up with Auld Lang Syne, which we all, English, Scots, Canadians, Prussians, joined in. It was absolutely amazing. And if I had seen it on a cinematograph film, I would have sworn that it was faked.
Up to mighty London came an Irishman one day. As the streets are paved with gold, sure everyone was gay, singing songs of Piccadilly, Strand and Leicester Square, till Paddy got excited, then he shouted to them there. It's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly, farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there. Paddy wrote a letter to his Irish Molly-O, saying, should you not receive it, write and let me know. If I make mistakes in spelling, Molly dear, said he, remember it's the pen that's bad, don't lay the blame on me. It's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly, farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there.
3 a.m. on a hot, still night.
No, nurse, I can't sleep. Sit with me a little, will you, nurse?
The words were whispered very low. Down the long length of the ward, no one else was stirring. The bed in which the sleeper lay had screens all around it. He had not been in hospital long, and he was more ill than he knew, being threatened with tetanus and quite blind. But it was only this morning that they had told him of his blindness.
When will they take away the bandages so that I can see?
Those were the words he said at the conclusion of each dressing.
I do want to see. Why, I haven't even seen you, nurse.
And he would laugh, as though the remark was of real humor. But today they broke it to him. And in the little kitchen off the ward, I listened while his day nurse told him. How did he take it? I asked at length. She shook her head.
Just asked if they were certain there was no hope, that was all. But he hasn't spoken since.
So I waited beside him, a little draught blowing upon us from an open window nearby.
Nurse, you know that I am to be blind always.
Yes, I answered, and took one of his hands in mine. But after a little while I drew a chair beside his bed, and we talked in whispers about France, for it amused him to describe some of the places in which he had been billeted. Then he was hungry, and I fed him with hot buttered toast and hot milk much sweetened.
It will be a month tomorrow since I was hit,
he said as he crunched his last piece of toast.
All that time before is like quite a different life.
Then he added,
Nurse, I say, you won't forget my early morning tea. You did forget yesterday.
And with those last words, he stretched his hand towards me, his way of discovering if I was offended. He died yesterday morning, the blind boy I had become so fond of. A concert was in progress, and for a while after they told me, I stood idle and listened to the singing.
There's a long, long trail a-winding into the land of my dreams, where the nightingales are singing and the white moon beams. There's a long, long night of waiting until my dreams all come true, till the day when I
It echoes still in my ears, that wailing, aching chorus of the long, long trail. All the men were singing it, and there beneath the window, where I had grown so used to the sight of blue-draped screens, was an empty bed, white and fresh. A suit of pajamas beneath the pillow, awaiting another occupant.
There's a long, long night of waiting until my dreams all come true, till the day when I'll be going down that long, long trail with you. Take my head on your shoulder, Daddy. Tell me the tale once more. I've often asked you to tell me, Daddy, what you did in the great, great war.
Madam, I regret to inform you that Bertrand Phillips, 11th Battalion, Middlesex Regiment, General Service, is ill at the 38th Field Ambulance, France, suffering from wounds and shock.
January 1st, 1916. Dear Mother.
I'm very sorry that I did not write before now, but we were in the trenches on Christmas Day and we had a lot to do. Also, I was sent to hospital. Don't send any letters to the company because I won't get them. Dear Mother, do not worry, for I'll be all right. I was only hurt in the back.
January 6th, 1916. Dear Mother.
I've been in the hospital 9 days now, lying in bed all the time. I have a sore heel. I had it cut. It's getting better.
January 20th, 1916. Dear Mother.
I'm quite well, and I came out of the hospital on Wednesday the 19th. You do not know how I was longing for a letter from you. Mother, I would like to know what the War Office said about me.
February 23rd, 1916. Dear Mother.
I'm sending you this letter to let you know that I have received your parcel. I am hoping all of you are quite well. Dear Mother, we were in the trenches, and I was ill. So I went out. They took me to prison. Now I'm in a bit of trouble. I'll have to go in front of a court. I'll let you know in my next letter how I get on. Give my best love to Father and Kate. Your loving son, Bertie.
Madam, I am directed to inform you that a report has been received from the War Office to the effect that Bertrand Phillips, 11th Battalion, Middlesex Regiment, General Service, was sentenced, after trial by court-martial, to suffer death by being shot for desertion, and that the sentence was duly executed on the 20th of March, 1916.
Brother Bertie went away to do his bit the other day, with a smile on his lips and his left hand and pips upon his shoulder, bright and gay. As the train moved out, he said, "Remember me to all the birds." Then he wagged his paw and went away to war, shouting out these pathetic words: "Goodbye, goodbye, oh, I'm so dear, baby dear, from your eye. Though it's hard to part, I know, I'll feel sicker than death to go. Don't cry, don't sigh, there's a silver lining in the sky. Pompa, oh, sin, cheerio, chin, chin, nabu, toodaloo, goodbye." At the concert down at Kew, some convalescents dressed in blue had to hear Lady Lee, who had turned 83, sing all the old songs she knew. Then she made a speech and said, "I look upon you boys with pride, and for what you've done I'm going to kiss each one." Then they all grabbed their sticks and cried, "Goodbye, goodbye, oh, and a dear baby dear from your eye. Though it's hard to part, I know, I'll feel sicker than death to go. Don't cry, don't fly. There's a silver lining in the sky. Bonsoir, all things cheerio, chin chin, nabu, toodaloo, goodbye. Little Private Fenwick saw he was the prisoner of war. Till the hand with the gun called him pig dog for fun and fairly punched him on the jaw. Right across the barbed wire fence, the German dropped then dear, oh dear. All the while gave way and fairly yelled hooray as he ran for the Dutch frontier. Goodbye, goodbye, wipe the dear baby from your eye. Though it's hard to pass, I know, I'll be single and just to go. Don't cry, don't cry. There's a silver lining in the sky. Bonsoir, all things cheerio, chin chin, nabu, toodaloo, goodbye. Take my head on your shoulder, Daddy. Tell me the tale once more. I've often asked you to tell me, Daddy, what you did in the great war.
General Damati had just been roused from his sleep, and he was standing in the street as 12 soldiers and an NCO came around the corner. A firing party! My heart sank, and a feeling of horror came over me, for an execution was about to take place. General Damati gave a look, then he held up his hand, and the party halted. With his characteristic quick step, he went up to the doomed man. He asked him what he had been condemned for. It was for abandoning his post. The general then began to talk to the man. Quite simply, he explained discipline to him. Abandoning your post was letting down your pals. More, it was letting down your country. He spoke of the necessity of example, how some could do their duty unprompted, but others, less strong, had to know and understand the supreme cost of failure. He told the condemned man that his crime was not venial, not low, but that he had to die so that others should not fail. Surprisingly, the wretch agreed. The burden of infamy was lifted from his shoulders. He saw a glimmer of something, maybe redemption in his own eyes. Damati went on, carrying the man with him to the comprehension that any sacrifice was worthwhile if it helped France. Yours is also a way of dying for your country, he said. The procession started again, but by now the victim was a willing one. The sound of the volley in the distance announced that it was all over.
It was night. Late. The nurses came in and several doctors. The beds were turned down, and shortly thereafter a convoy arrived. 30 of them, all blindfolded with hands on each other's shoulders. The nurses and doctors breaking them up as they came to their respective beds. I was trying to see what was going on when a nurse approached my bed with a cup of water and 2 tablets. It must have been early morning when I awoke and remembered the scene from the night before. Every bed was empty, and at the foot of each bed was a urine bottle half full of pink urine. They had all been gassed, blind, and had died in the night.
I know 2 lads who shot themselves. They just couldn't take it. Of course, nothing was said. Their next of kin were advised, killed in action. One lad in particular, I knew him very well. He had been a clerk in a lawyer's office. Quiet sort, very educated, and a damn good soldier. He was over there quite a while before he went haywire. Just got to be very, very quiet. I learnt afterwards that he had heard from someone in Canada that his wife was running around. He just went to a quiet place, stuck his rifle in his mouth, and blew his head off.
I've heard the prayers of mothers, some of them old and gray. I have heard the prayers of others, for those who went away. Oftentimes the prayer will teach one the meaning of goodbye. I felt the pain of each one, but this one made me cry. Just a baby's prayer at twilight, when lights are low. Poor baby's ears are filled with tears. There's a mother there at twilight, who's proud to know her precious little son is that forget-me-not. After saying good night, Mama, she climbs upstairs, quite unaware, and says her prayers. Oh, kindly tell my daddy that he must take care. That's the baby's prayer at twilight, for her daddy over there. Kindly tell my daddy that he must take care. That's the baby's prayer at twilight, for her daddy over there.
So you were David's father, and he was your only son. And the new cut peats are rotting, and the work is left undone because of an old man weeping, just an old man in pain, for David, his son David, who will not come again. Ah, the letters that he wrote you, I can see them still. Not a word about the fighting, but just the sheep on the hill, and how you should get the crops in ere the season grow colder. But the Boches have his body, and I was his officer. You were only David's father, but I had 50 sons when we went up in the evening under the arc of the guns. And when we came back at twilight, oh God, I heard them call to me for help and pity that could not help at all. Oh, never will I forget you, my men that trusted me, more my sons than your fathers, for they could only see the little helpless babies and the young men in their pride. They could not see you dying and hold you while you died. Happy and young and gallant, they saw their firstborn go, but not the strong limbs broken and the beautiful men brought low, the piteous writhing of bodies that screamed, "Don't leave me, sir!" For they were only your fathers, but I was your officer.
and the country found them ready at the stirring call for men. Let no tears add to their hardships as the soldiers pass along. And although your heart is breaking, make it sing this cheery song. Keep the home fires burning while your hearts are yearning. Though your lads are far away, they dream of home. There's a silver lining through the dark cloud shining. Turn the dark cloud inside out till the boys come home.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. The last shot of the war was fired at 11 a.m. this morning. We are at peace.
Overseas there came a pleading, help a nation in distress, and we gave our glorious laddies honor bade us do no less. For no garant son of freedom to a tyrant's yoke should bend, and a noble heart must answer to the sacred call of friend. Keep the home fires burning while your hearts are yearning. Though your lads are far away, they dream of home. There's a silver lining through the dark cloud shining. Turn the dark cloud inside out till the boys come home.
Stanley Kirby's recording of this 1914 British war song, Keep the Home Fires Burning, brings us to another break in this special Remembrance Day Sentimental Journey show, Mudsongs. And in the background, the great John Philip Sousa Band with their 1918 hit, The Liberty Loan March. And now, let's hear the concluding portion of Mudsongs on Sentimental Journey.
Reuben, I've been thinking, said his wifey dear. Now that all is peaceful and calm, boys will soon be back on the farm. Mr. Reuben started winking, slowly rubbed his chin. He pulled his chair up close to Mother, and he asked her with a grin, how you gonna keep 'em down on the farm after they seen Perry? how you gonna keep 'em away from Broadway, jazzing around and painting the town? How you gonna keep 'em away from harm? That's a mystery. Imagine Reuben when he meets his pa. He'll kiss his cheek and holler, ooh la la. How you gonna keep 'em down on the farm after they've seen Paris? Tell me, mother, how you gonna keep 'em down on the farm after they've seen Paris? And how you gonna keep them away from rectors, jazzing around and painting the town? Woo! How you gonna keep them away from harm? That's a mystery. They'll never want to see a rake or plow. And who the heck can parley-vous a cow? How you gonna keep 'em down on the farm after they've seen Paris?
Bells ringing, whistles blowing, crowds in the streets cheering. What is it? The armistice. The war is over. Germany has quit. Now, at last, all is quiet on the Western Front.
The war is over. La guerre it is finis, as the French say in half English and half French. The news came to us yesterday morning. It did not come as a surprise, for we more or less suspected it, and were ready for it. All one can say is, thank God it's over.
Pierce said, "Let's go outside and see what's going on." So the two of us went outside. And then all of a sudden, bang! A shot came from up the street, got him right through the back and through the heart, and he fell dead in my arms. It was not an accidental shot. It was a sniper. If there had been two, they would have gotten both of us. I laid him down behind the fence and went in and got Major Ross. I told him, "Pierce is dead." "The war's over," Ross said. "The war's over. To think that this would happen right now when the war's over." We never thought about the war being over. And poor old Pierce, he didn't know that it was over. He was just doing his job.
Does it matter losing your legs? For people will always be kind, and you need not show that you mind when others come in after hunting to gobble up their muffins and eggs. Does it matter losing your sight? There's such splendid work for the blind, and people will always be kind when you sit on the terrace remembering and turning your face to the light. Do they matter, those dreams from the pit? You could always drink and forget and be glad, and people won't say that you're mad, for they'll know that you fought for your country, and no one will worry a bit.
Did you have to fight the cockroaches, Nan? And when they brought the telegram of Mark's heroic death at Mons, did you thank Madame for the 5 shillings, making sure that the fender gleamed, even as you cried your love goodbye? Were those hard years for you, Nan? The roaring 20s, the sighing 30s? You never said much. Your kids enjoyed them, but it was their youth and they had to. What was it for you, Nan? Silence? Lonely? Perhaps better? Perhaps you'd have died in the kitchen, belly full of beer. Did you cry in bed, Nan? And did your hair, still long and soft and yellow when you held me, did it lie uncaressed across the pillow for the 16 years that left you with the memory of a husband's embrace? For what it's worth, I'll remember, Nan. Remember all those things you didn't tell me, and I'll add them up. And the total will be kindness and gentleness and trust and innocence and loneliness and sacrifice. Maybe, Nan, there was something in it after all.
me like a soldier fall upon some open plain. This breast expanding for the wall to blot out every stain. Brave manly hearts confirm my doom, a gentler one may tell. How forgotten on my tomb, I like a soldier fell. Oh, forgotten on my tomb, I like a soldier fell. I like a soldier fell. Ask of that proud race which ends its days in me, to die the last and not disgrace its ancient chivalry. Though my clay no banner wave, no trumpet requiem swell, enough they murmur o'er my grave, like a soldier fell. Enough they murmur o'er my grave, he like a soldier fell. He like a soldier fell. I only ask of the proud race which ends its days in me, to die the last and not disgrace this ancient chivalry. Though my clay no banner wave, no trumpet requiem swell, enough they murmur o'er my grave, he like a soldier fell. Enough they murmur o'er my grave, he like a soldier fell. He like a soldier fell.
I don't know which was worse, the war or the events that followed, with unemployment and even ex-officers selling matches in Oxford Street. Yes, it was all over at last, and in 1919, when I looked at my father and brother and our 2 rooms that measured 14 by 14 and housed a family of 8, I said to myself, Tom, your king and country need you.
In 1914, 100 years ago it seems, when first the world was awakened from its peaceful dream, the bugle called, I went away. They said I was a man then, but what am I today? I can't get the old job, can't get the new, can't carry on as I used to do. I look around me and daily I see thousands and thousands of fellows, a lot worse off than me. In a Piccadilly, friend, pass me by. I'm absolutely stranded in the Strand. But I confess I was contented more or less when I was sorely broke in no man's land. When the fighting was at its fiercest and everything looked black, this is a promise that cheered us up: you'll get the old job back. when we crossed shell-swept no man's land through poison gas attacks. This promise heard, if you are spared, you'll get the old job back. We were not professional soldiers, fighting was not our game. We were only peaceful citizens, but we fought just the same. We sacrificed our wives and kids and homes to do our bit, and now the door is closed to us. It seems hard to admit. I can't get the old job, can't get the new, can't carry on as I used to do. I look around me and daily I see thousands and thousands of fellows a lot worse off than me. In Piccadilly, friend, pass me by. I'm absolutely stranded in the Strand. But I confess I was contented more or less when I was sorely broke in no man's land.
Every November the 11th, my wife shines my medals, I dress myself up, and we go to the cenotaph and take part in the service. So many things go through my mind. All those men who were killed. How unnecessary. Why couldn't they have died an ordinary natural death? It is a very terrible thing that a man has to give his life for his country. People don't understand that these men who enlisted didn't realize what they were getting into. Maybe I was one of them. Anyway, we went. Some gave their lives, others their limbs, some their minds. People don't seem to realize the sacrifices these men made, in constant fear of death or dismemberment, living worse than animals, often knee-deep in mud, filthy, lousy, hungry, tired, and terrified for year after bloody year. I would feel very compassionate towards any teenager who considers November the 11th just another holiday. I'd say, well, son, I don't blame you for feeling that way. You're young. Maybe if I were you, I would feel the same way too. If you've got a minute to spare, come and sit with me, and I'll tell you a thing or two. And I would try to explain what some of these men went through. In this war, there were no winners. No matter on which side they fought, they were all victims. In war, the generals may propose, but it's the common soldier who has to dispose. And we have to remember these fellows. Suppose something happened in the world today, and your father had to go to war. You'd feel badly if he were killed in action, or lost an arm, or a leg, or even his mind. Just think it over, chum. And consider yourself darn lucky to be born Canadian, living in a free country, fought for by not only Canadians and the British, but by Americans, Australians, and New Zealanders. They all helped to preserve the freedom which you have today.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place. And in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields.
No more killing. No more mutilated men. 4 years of it. It seemed like 4 centuries.
Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? Poor old lang syne, my dear, poor old lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet, poor old lang syne. And there's a hand, my trusty friend, and gives a hand of mine. We'll take a right good willy wot for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne. We'll take a right good willy wot for old lang syne.
Take your peaceful share of time with joy to spare, for war is a bloody game.
Look up and swear by the green of spring that you will never forget.
From the days just after the end of World War I, the Nicholas Orlando's Orchestra, featuring vocalists Harry McDonough and Charles Hart, with the still very popular Till We Meet Again, bringing to an end this very special Remembrance Day feature, Mudsongs, this musical narrative of the First World War by J. Frederick Brown of Yarmouth, Nova Scotia here. The primary reference sources for Mudsongs were Mud, Songs and Blighty by Colin Walsh and My Grandfather's War by W.D. Mathieson. And my sincere thanks to the St. Luke's Players of Halifax, Nova Scotia, and their director Elaine Forhan for contributing their time and considerable talents in providing the spoken parts from their 2011 production of Mudsongs. Members of the cast were Bruce Burrows, Michael LeBlanc, Jim Vibert, Danny Brophy, Kevin Little, Ben Harrison, Susan Boutelier, Marilyn McDonald, Daphne Treneman, and Emily Harrison, with additional narrations by J. Frederick Brown. Bruce Burrows was the vocalist, accompanied by pianist Edith Steffens, in the musical setting of In Flanders Fields, written in 1915 by Canadian Lieutenant Colonel Dr. John McCrae of Guelph, Ontario. As we think about the wars of the last 100 years, we have so much for which to be grateful, and so many to whom we owe so much. Let's take a little time each day in our lives, friends, to remember. And the next time, the very next time you're in the presence of a veteran, thank him or her for their service. I hope you have enjoyed the music of the years of the First World War and been touched by the actual words from or about those who served during those years of the Great War. I have lots of wonderful music requests for next week's Sentimental Journey, and if you have an old favorite recording from the 1930s, 40s, or 50s that you would like to hear again, drop me a line at Sentimental Journey, 16 Prospect Street, Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, Canada, B5A 4J1. That's Sentimental Journey, 16 Prospect Street, Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, Canada, the postal code B5A 4J1, and by email sj@eastlink.ca. That's sj@eastlink, EASTLINK, one word, .ca. I'm Lauren Fevens. Thanks so much for joining me. I look forward to your company again next week, friends, at the very same time. Take good care of yourself. Take good care of one another. Have a wonderful week. And bye for now, friends.